I believe change takes way more time than anyone can really predict or honor. And it's because change is an evolving process. You don't just like change and then like it's gone. For change to be sustained, it needs to be continuously invested in. That's time, resources, energy. And if change is a value of a person or an organization, so for example, for us, part of our promise as an organization is that we're willing to innovate and willing to change. And you'll hear this a lot in organizations and businesses and all over the place. And what's interesting is that means it becomes a constant. That means change, that requires change to become a constant. So taking something that everyone can kind of understand, so like exercise. Everyone knows that exercise is positive. So I don't just exercise for a year and then stop exercising because I've done it already. I would need to figure out a way to build in exercise appropriately into my lifestyle so for the change of exercise to be successful, the change of exercise needs to be a constant in my life. So reflecting that on to my experience starting a nonprofit at a young age is that we had no option but to invest a lot of time, resources, money that could have gone somewhere else, specifically building into our organization. And something that current young people, so millennials will face, and we faced, I as an older cusp of the millennial generation, is that I've been doing this work for 10 years now. We really do as a generation need to be thoughtful around what does long-term look like. And 10 years isn't even long-term. If I was in a room of 100 high schoolers and college students, so teenagers to early 20s, and I were to ask, what is a long period of time? Maybe some people say 10 years if they're thinking about them at, in the late 20s or whatever. Maybe some people say 10 seconds if they're waiting for some specific person to text them back, or, a long time is relative to what you're waiting for. But if you think of the greatest social issues that we have advanced today, that's on thousands of people's backs over decades worth of time. Decades, people we will never meet. And then we as millennials think that 5 years is a long time, that's a long time to dedicate to a cause. And so I think that is probably my biggest beef with our generation. I'm saying our intentionally, so this is something that's within me also. What is our definition of long term? What work are we doing today to advance the lives of people that we will never meet decades after we die? Because that is the opportunity that we've been afforded for every female in a leadership role, every person of color with a right that wasn't previously afforded to him or her. We get to exist today not only from a racial lens or anything like that. The way we live today is thanks to all of these people. So what are we doing for these people that we're not going to meet? And I think that is a huge point of intentionality that our generation needs to face head on. Isn't currently being named as an issue or concern, and isn't even in the conversation around sustainability, but I believe it's a central component of it. How does something outlive us? Not just outlive our term, how does it literally outlive our lives? Are we creating solutions that will positively build to the solutions of 100 years from now? And we get to think about it from that lens because we've seen what 50 and 100 years worth of advancement can look like, whether technologically or socially we've seen what decades worth of work can accomplish. So we're in a pretty cool spot that we get to see that we can vision out 50 years to the future, because we could also see 50 years of a social issue progressing.